Among 12 brothers, one young man would be chosen for an extraordinary destiny. Joseph was his father Jacob's favorite son. After his father presented him with a beautiful tunic, his brothers envied him for being the most beloved son. Once, Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him even more. "Listen to the dream I had," he said to them. "We were binding sheaves of wheat in the field, when my sheaf appeared and stood upright, and your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to it." Then he had another dream and told it to his brothers. "I had another dream, and this time the sun, the moon, and 11 stars were bowing down to me." Joseph was naive in sharing his visions. His brothers conspired against him, and so he sealed his fate. His father sent him to find his brothers who had traveled. When Joseph arrived, his brothers tore his tunic and threw him into a pit. When the Ishmaelite merchants of Midian approached, his brothers pulled him out of the pit and sold him for 20 pieces of silver to the Ishmaelites, who took him to Egypt. So they killed a goat, dipped Joseph's tunic in the blood, and sent it to their father with this message: "We found this. See if it is your son's tunic." He recognized it and said, "It is my son's tunic. A wild animal devoured him. Joseph has been torn to pieces." Joseph was sold by the Midianites in Egypt to Potiphar, an eunuch of Pharaoh, captain of the guard. The Lord was with Joseph. He was not shaken at any moment, and his dream remained in his memory. Potiphar put him in charge of his household and entrusted to him everything he owned. From the time he put him in charge of his household and of all that he had, the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house because of Joseph. Everything was left to Joseph's care, and he didn't worry about anything except the food he ate. Joseph was handsome. Potiphar's wife began to desire him, trying to seduce him several times, but Joseph rejected her. One day, she grabbed him by his cloak and said, "Come, lie with me." But he fled from the house, leaving his cloak in her hands. She then unjustly accused him of trying to rape her. Joseph was taken prisoner, once again unjustly accused, but the Lord was with him. Nothing could shake his faith. The jailer put Joseph in charge of all those who were in the prison, and he became responsible for everything that happened there. The Lord was with him and gave him success in everything he did. After some time, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt, who were in prison, had dreams. Each had a dream, both on the same night, and each dream had its own interpretation. Then the chief cupbearer told Joseph his dream. "In my dream, I saw a vine before me with 3 branches. It budded, blossomed, and produced grapes that ripened in clusters. Pharaoh's cup was in my hand. I took the grapes, squeezed them into Pharaoh's cup, and placed it in his hand." Joseph said to him, "Within 3 days, Pharaoh will promote you and restore you to your position, and you will serve him with the cup, as you did when you were his cupbearer. When all goes well for you, remember me and show me kindness. Mention my name to Pharaoh and get me out of this prison." Then the chief baker said to Joseph, "I also had a dream. On my head were 3 baskets of white bread. In the top basket were all kinds of bread and sweets that Pharaoh likes, but the birds came and ate from the basket I was wearing on my head." And Joseph interpreted, 3 baskets represent 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will behead you and hang you on a tree, and the birds will eat your flesh." Everything happened just as Joseph interpreted it. But the chief cupbearer did not remember Joseph. On the contrary, he forgot him. Pharaoh had 2 dreams. 7 ugly, thin cows devoured 7 beautiful, fat cows. Then he fell asleep again and had another dream. 7 ears of grain, healthy and good, were growing on a single stalk. Then 7 other ears sprouted, thin and withered by the east wind. The thin ears swallowed up the 7 healthy and full ears. In the morning, troubled, he summoned all the magicians and wise men of Egypt and told them his dreams, but no one was able to interpret them.
Then the chief cupbearer remembered Joseph and said to Pharaoh, "We told him our dreams and he interpreted them for us. giving each of us the interpretation of his own dream. And everything happened just as he told us. I was restored to my position, and the other was hanged. Pharaoh summoned Joseph, who was quickly brought from the dungeon. After shaving and changing his clothes, he presented himself to Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I had a dream that no one can interpret, but I have heard that you, upon hearing a dream, are able to interpret it." Joseph replied, "It is not up to me. God will give Pharaoh a favorable answer." Then Pharaoh told Joseph his dream. Joseph interpreted the dreams as 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine, and advised Pharaoh to find a wise man to make the decisions. Then Pharaoh put Joseph in charge of the palace and as the ruler of Egypt. Thus Joseph was placed in charge of all the land of Egypt. Joseph gathered all the surplus from the 7 years of plenty in Egypt and stored it in the cities. In each city he stored the grain harvested from the surrounding fields. Thus Joseph stored up grain in abundance, like the sand of the sea. He stopped recording it because it was beyond measure. Before the years of famine, Asenath, daughter of Potiphar, priest of On, bore Joseph 2 sons. He named the first Manasseh, saying, "God has made me forget all my hardship and all my father's household." He named the second Ephraim, saying, "God has made me fruitful in the land of my affliction." So the 7 years of famine began, just as Joseph had predicted. There was famine in all the lands, but throughout Egypt there was food. The people cried out to Pharaoh for food, and he answered all the Egyptians, "Go to Joseph and do what he tells you." When the famine had spread throughout the land, Joseph ordered the storehouses to be opened and began selling grain to the Egyptians, because the famine was severe throughout Egypt. And people came from all over the land to Egypt to buy grain from Joseph, because the famine was severe everywhere. The reunion of Joseph with his brothers in Egypt, described in Genesis 42 to 45, occurs when they are searching for food during a famine. Joseph recognized his brothers immediately, but they did not recognize him, mistaking him for a high-ranking Egyptian official. Joseph acted harshly, calling them spies and imprisoning them temporarily. He demanded that they bring Benjamin, the youngest brother, to prove the veracity of their story. After a final test involving his silver cup hidden in Benjamin's baggage, his brothers returned to their land, spoke with Jacob, and went back to Egypt. Joseph becomes emotional and reveals his identity, weeping loudly. He assures them that forgiveness is real and that being sold was part of a divine plan to save the people from the famine. The family reconciles, and Joseph invites his father, Jacob, and his entire family to live in Egypt, in the region of Goshen. This episode is a high point in Joseph's story, highlighting themes such as reconciliation, forgiveness, divine providence, and the transformation of the brothers. Like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Bible videos.